Hello. Hi, everyone. So, I really hope that you hear me really well. And welcome. Welcome to our webinar. I'm really happy to see all of you, to see so many teachers here being today kind of students a little bit. So, let's talk a little bit today. I'm Mary, by the way, and I've been teaching for 4 years right now in Green Country School. And I would say that I've had quite a lot of struggles with students' speaking skills. So I think I have some uh, some quite practical things to share with you, I would say so. By the way, a couple of days ago, I counted how many groups I had during these 4 years, and the number is 42 groups of students. I was shocked a little bit because I didn't expect that huge number, and that's not even counted summer camps and summertime at all. So yeah, the number is a little bit scary and huge, and I hope that um, you get the amount of experience as you want to, even after the first year group or even after the first students. So like, I just hope that you have really great lessons and everything is super cool with your students and you. By the way, also, I hope you have a great day, sunny day, no floods, no rain, and nothing bad happens. So let's just talk a little bit, have some productive 2 hours, and discuss some couple of questions. So let's get started. Today's webinar is going to be about teaching speaking to ESL students, and as I said before, I'm going to share some practical tips how to do that. Like when we travel, when we I don't know walk all around the city and so on, we sometimes hear English. We can hear English even more often when we travel, by the way. So that's when we have this question. When we ask someone, do you speak English? Or some people and strangers ask us, do we speak English? That means that English is one of the top languages and one of the top sources how people want to communicate between each other and how people want to find this connection with the help of English. I'm really happy that in Ukraine, English is one of the top languages which is taught, and I would say that our teaching skills are improving with every year, with every new lessons and with all the opportunities that we get from other teachers, from other students and so on. And I'm really happy that I'm also a part of this, a part of the community who bring like a part of the community which brings English into our country and provides the lessons for our younger generations who are supposed to be even better than us. So let's take a look at this. Do you speak English? So what do we have here? Just as usual, we have some language skills when we try to learn any language, any at all. And English is not an exception. So here we have two actually like separate structures. We have receptive and we have productive skills. As we all know, usually when we have lessons, we train 4 types of skills. Those are listening, writing, reading, and speaking. Let's right now find out which ones are receptive and which ones are productive skills. So, speaking about receptive skills, those are reading and listening, as we can see here. Why is that receptive? Because with the help of reading and with the help of listening, we receive the information from another source. That means we kind of fill the box or have some info which comes to us from the outside, and we try to percept it and we try to remember something and memorize something, by the way. Speaking about reading and listening, with these receptive skills, we have to do something with them actually. Like we have to practice them a little bit to be able to talk, to be able to communicate with other people. That's why we have the production stage and the productive skills, where we have writing and speaking in general. Speaking about writing, like right now, a lot of people don't really like calling to each other. That's why it's more common to use chats and just typing the message to your friend than calling and saying or like wishing the happy birthday or something like that. Unfortunately, yes, that's right now our reality. So right now writing is also really important and really useful because that's also the huge part of our communication with everyone. We're talking about speaking, by the way. That's also one of the most important skills that we have to just like enhance it with every next day, with every our next opportunity to overcome our fears, to have less struggles when we talk to some strangers and so on. So it's the never ending work according to any of these skills, by the way, and specifically speaking, because first of all, we meet the person, we listen, we want to say something back, and that's why speaking is really, really, really important. Talking about this skill, let's have a look a little bit at speaking. We have their communicative and academic type of speaking. While teaching English with students, we practice as communicative as academic type of speaking because we have the casual conversations with our students. They practice the role play tasks with other students, or they have some kind of conversation or just the questions and so on, or the interviews. So it's like the usual everyday English, which they can use like just because they want to, and that's all. Speaking about academic, it's a little bit more narrowed because it has more restrictions and more like more norms out of which we cannot overstep. So that means if we have the specific structure, we have to follow that structure, and like because if we don't do that, we may get some minus the mark or something like that, or this will be out of the order and we can have some troubles with this. So that's why, speaking about academics speaking, it's speeches, presentations, debates, and something which is formal like that, which requires restrictions and specific structure. Okay, so we know that to be fluent in English, as in any other language, it takes a lot of work. Actually, it takes a lot of efforts, and also that's like studying English and studying any other language. That's a never-ending process because we have to all the time be in this practice. We have to learn new words, new phrases, because language it's kind of the like an alive organism which grows all the time, because there come new slang words, new structures, and all of that. If we talk about, for example, grammar, which is basically the same all the time, but even grammar changes with times. So we have to be ready to this, and we have to understand that studying is a never-ending process, even for teachers. Because if we talk about teachers, we like in Green Country, we have this thing that we have the observation lessons, and sometimes we record our lessons to show this to our methodologists. And when I look at my lessons from the first year, I'm a little bit like I feel this feeling because I see how like I see just the beginning of being a teacher, and I can compare my first year of teaching just to this fourth year of teaching, and I can see really huge progress because I've grown since the first year really much. As with with different methodology approaches, as with my English, because I never stop studying. I all the time watch some movies just in English. I really don't like any translations or something like that. I watch only in English. I listen to a lot of music. It's like it became my life. So everyone has to understand that if you want to know the language or something like that, you have to accept that that's gonna be a huge part of your life if you want to be kind of fluent in that, and if you want to get to some higher I don't know, tops or something like that. So that's why studying and is a never-ending process, and students also have to understand that. And speaking about our students, by the way, they when they come to teachers, they maybe not always understand why they have to study English, why they have to practice speaking so much, why they have to practice grammar so much, and so on. But also, they have to understand that without grammar, without all of those language skills, one of them is not going to be that productive and it's not going to be that well conducted if you practice all of them all together. That's why on our lessons we have different options, different activities, and different approaches of teaching those skills and like practicing those skills with our students. Or it's the individual lesson, or that's the group lesson, doesn't matter. We always try to practice all of the skills at like, or maybe separate for two lessons, or just maybe one lesson, but like some of them will be definitely together. Okay, so speaking about our students, um, they can meet some different struggles. When they come to the teacher, they say, oh, maybe like my mom told me to come to study English. I don't really want to. Or I want to learn how to speak well, but I don't like grammar. Or they say that I really love English, but I don't know what stops me to what's stopping me to, I don't know, improve it or something like that. So that's okay if people have struggles and if people have problems. We as teachers have to explain that students are not supposed to be afraid of those problems, and we just have to talk about them and find out what we have to do next. What are our next steps? Let's take a look at some struggles that students can come with to our teachers. So, the first one, and one of the main problems while students are afraid to speak, that's they are afraid because they're afraid of mistakes. And that's a really, really huge trouble sometimes for students because they don't understand that that's okay to make mistakes. And if you make mistakes, if that means, come on, you're talking, that's even better than you are just sitting silent and doing nothing. So if you speak, that's a huge victory because you speak, you try to, and your brain is trying to comprehend all of the knowledge that you got, everything what you learned in your life. So that's super cool if you make mistakes. But the main point here is to show that you make mistakes. Okay, but now let's try to talk about them. Like, what should we change here? Maybe we should improve something in here. What is the next step after the mistake? And the next step has to be the work on the mistake so that the next time person remembers, oh, okay, so I've done here something wrong. So that means I have to revise what's supposed to be here better. Okay, okay. So that means the next time the person wants to make the mistake, the person will remember that, okay, here's supposed to be this one. So we have to emphasize what we have to do with this mistake, but not just like forget about that. No, we have to work on that. But making mistakes is okay. Let's take a look at the next one. Okay, what do I have? Give up after no quick results. Yep, that's also can be a little bit discouraging because students think that, okay, so I've got here 1 month of English, so till the end of this month, I'm gonna be C1, even though I'm pre-A1. No, that's never going to happen because I don't know how much you have to spend, how much time you have to spend on studying. So you are able to just jump from pre-A1 to C1. That's kind of not possible because it takes years of practicing, and it takes a lot of time of working with different sources of a language, different sources. So we have to also show our students that you have to be patient a little bit. It's not going to be that fast if you don't do something with that. That means we show that students are also responsible for their studying, and they have to they have to give a lot of efforts to that, so that we see the result. Maybe not that fast as they want, not the quick one, but still we see that they've done a lot of work, and we can say, wow, good job. Do you see your progress since the beginning of this month? That's you. That's you done that much. And we have to help our student to do these, to make these steps, to say, come on, that's supposed to be you. You have to get ready to the lesson, not me. I'm ready with my things that I have to be ready with. You have to do something. You have to learn the words. You have to get ready with reading, for example, or with writing. Because if you don't do that, yes, the studying process will take 10 years to get from pre-A1 to A1. We have to show that students are responsible for their language process, studying language process. That's what I wanted to tell you. Let's take a look at the next one. Prefer reading to speaking. Here is kind of also the trouble, because students can be a little bit reluctant, or they can be a little bit shy, because when we have lessons with our students in the class, or that's individual or doesn't matter, sometimes students would like to read than to speak, because they see the words, they know how to pronounce them, they know everything, but for them it's easier to read something ready than to make something up in their head. That's why here we have to train our students. Nuh-uh, don't be that lazy. Make your brain work a little bit more. So we have to say that, come on, you have to do this. You have to speak, even though you're trying. I know that that's hard, but you have to try stepping out of your comfort zone, because reading, that is the comfort zone. Please step out of this and try doing something. And also the same with shy students. We have to understand the psychology of the specific shy student, because we need to know why this person is shy, whether like not really comfortable with other students because of some relationship, or just because of like sometimes it happens that students like, it's okay if students don't feel the connection with the teacher. That means they have to find another teacher, because that's just how psychology works. If it doesn't click simultaneously and spontaneously, then it's going to be hard for both, as for teacher as for student, because there won't be this connection between both of them. That's why even with shy students, we have to understand what's the problem, and we have to help them be more open to the world. We have to encourage them. We have to praise, like as other students we have to praise, as these shy students we also have to praise, even though the shy student has done something really small. But in general, we have to praise them, and we have to help them, and we have to say that, please, you're safe here. That's the safe space, the safe class, the safe, I don't know, it doesn't matter where you are, but you have to say it's safe to make mistakes here, and it's safe for you to speak up. Don't worry, no one is gonna hurt you, and no one is gonna believe that you've done something wrong. We have to emphasize on this, that lessons with you are safe. Remember that. Okay, moving on to the next one. Don't spend enough time on self-studying. That's what I was talking about, that we have to show that students have to be responsible for their knowledge, and they have to understand this this on really high level, that it depends on them how much effort they put into studying, uh, like that big results they will get in the end of the month or in the end of the course. Speaking about all of these things, how we can help our students, we're going to take a look at what should they do. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about you. I would ask you to have a look here. That's going to be a poll. Here, your task will be to choose to remember your first year or your first even lessons when you just started learning English, what your big fear was or big struggle was. So you can choose like or one option or a couple of options, doesn't matter. We would just have a look at amount of teachers and amount of people with what specifically they had troubles with. For example, as for me, the main problem actually for me when I just started learning English was speaking, really, because I kind of understand what's going on, what the teacher is saying, but I cannot express myself. So right now, let's find out what troubles you had. I'm going to share the link in the chat. And also, there is the QR code. So please, if you have a chance to scan this QR code, please scan the QR code, join the link, and just try to vote. And we're going to see what's the percentage of teachers that had struggles with speaking or with listening or something like that. And as I said before, you can have couple of answers. So it's not just like one answer. You can choose any option with whatever you have. Okay. I'm gonna give you right now, kinda let it be 60 seconds to vote. And we'll take a look at the results. Yeah, just try to remember, try to capture that moment when you understood that, oh yeah, that's a struggle here. And try to vote. Okay. 20 more seconds. Five seconds left for the voting. Okay. Whoa. Huh. That's interesting. It's okay if you vote. Continue voting. That's okay. I'm gonna just take a look here. Yeah, okay. Listening and speaking in general. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get why. Like writing can be a bit difficult if we talk about some official, like writing letters, writing the letter of the reply letter or just the complaint letter. So that can be a little bit hard. Okay. Huh. Speaking and listening go like really, really close to each other. Got it. Okay. So as we can see, listening and speaking, it's what we like, it's really highly connected because through listening, we get the main source of info. So our ears have to train to percept, to be able to receive the information in English. And it also takes a lot of practice. The same as with speaking. To be able to process all the info in our head, to be able to put that info into grammatically correct sentences with good rhythm, with good intonation, with a lot of things which build altogether the speaking skill. And that's why here teachers' work is also really, really huge because if we provide lessons in English, that's a big win. Because if I talk about, for example, my job in Green Country, we provide lessons in English. Like I even have this strict rule. Please, Mary, never change English to the native language of the students. And I'm trying to follow this rule. And sometimes students are really angry at me because of that, because I say no English, please, or they say Mary, please, can you say it in English, or can I say it in Ukrainian, or can I say it in Ukrainian? I say no. Please try to explain this in English. The main thing about that is we don't let our students be lazy, because if they have this listening practice all the time, teacher becomes kind of the main source of this information of English. That's why during these 45, 80 minutes of the lesson, they constantly hear English. They hear it and they try to process, and they know, for example, if you set the rule that no native language, just English, then they will have no choice. They will have to speak, and they will understand that there is no other place to run. I have to try to say something. And I would say that even this semester I had the pre-A1 group. There were 5 students, and one student was with no background knowledge, like at all, nothing. She couldn't understand even the easiest words. And that was a huge struggle, as for me, as for teacher, as for her, because other students understood a little bit better than she did. That's why I was trying to talk with her a little bit separately. I was trying to explain to all of the group, like in the easiest way, like the simplest way as possible. A lot of body language, a lot of gestures, a lot of changing of the volume, because sometimes you have to say something a little bit even louder than usual. So it takes a lot of time to start speaking if the person doesn't have any background knowledge because of lack of listening. So here we can see that all those skills are connected, and one skill cannot be productive without any another. That's why we have to show our students that listening and getting like practicing and training our ears is highly important. That's why let's gonna take a look how they have to do this, and what tricks they can do, like even at home. So thank you for voting. It was really interesting to take a look at this. So speaking about students, so what should they do? Da-da-da-dum. An English speaking environment in your room. You can even cite the sentence to your students. So come on, like tomorrow, try to create an English speaking environment in your room. How to do that? We understand that not everyone has a chance to travel and has a chance to practice with English native speaker all the time, or just to live for a couple of, I don't know, weeks, months, or even days in an English speaking country. That's why we have to do everything possible where we are, in your room specifically. Let's take a look at some things that can help us do this. Movies. That's super simple. With movies, we can we have those visual aids where we see the situation, we hear how people react, we see how they speak with each other, what language they're using, what is the intonation and all of that, and we percept and we receive this info from films specifically. So we understand that our eyes, our ears are training at the same time, because we see the picture, we understand what's going on, and we try to kind of perceive what's the language used in this specific situation. Next one, like one of the also the perfect listening practice activities is listening to music, by the way. But here, the main thing that we cannot always trust grammar in music, because authors can choose a little bit to make it sound better, to I don't know, just to match the rhythm and so on. With the help of music, we can just practice how words are pronounced, so that we, for example, take a look at lyrics of the song. We can hear the song, we can see the lyrics, and we can repeat after the person which is singing. So like sing and feel the flow of the speech. Feel how the person tries to communicate and express himself with the help of music. Let's take a look at the next one. Games. Yep, games. Um, I'm not just talking the games that are used during the lesson, like Quizlet, Kahoot, quizzes, and Bamboozle, and so on. Not just these ones. Also, the games where they have the communication with other people from all around the world. Students play Brawl Stars. Students play a lot of other games, and even like if we talk about a bit. If we talk about teens, they play CSGO and so on. And I've noticed that people in CSGO, they use English. Even though they are from India or they from Turkey or from any other country, doesn't matter. They try to use English to communicate. Yeah, that English can be not that perfect, for example, because like everyone is a human, and if you're not a native speaker, you definitely will make some mistakes if it's not like the thing that you practice all the time. So here, with the help of the games, they can practice the feeling of being free to talk, because they have to communicate with their with other players. They have to explain the situation. So even with simple words, but they will try to talk, and they will try to communicate with other people. So please tell your students that when they play some online games, try to encourage other players to use English, because that would be a good, lively, and interesting usage of English. Next one, online platforms. That's a total lifesaver and game changer, because if you have the online platform where you have all the tasks, where you have the listening, where you have the audio, where you have video attached, where you have the full lesson, for example, shown, or where you have like when you as a teacher download everything what you want your student to know, that's super cool, because no handouts. First of all, you don't have to print any papers, and second of all, the student has got the like the all the time access to the platform, because student can see, for example, tomorrow you've got a lesson and you say, okay, get ready with this topic. And student can, okay, but I'm in the village, and you say, that's not an excuse. You've got a platform to get ready with. So that's also a good thing to again, not let your students feel lazy, and make them be responsible for their studying process. Please make your students be responsible for themselves. Please. Okay, next one. Books. Yeah, I would say that that's the reading part. But at the same time, we've got the audiobooks, where we can hear the word, we see the word, and we try to remember this. We can trust books a little bit more, because in books specifically, we can see the sentence structure. And after that, when we try to speak, we will try to build the structure like that. So that means in books we can rely on the grammar part, but not as like, for example, a little bit bigger than on music, for example. So audiobooks is also a lifesaver. Next, training apps. Like they can download Kahoot, they can download Alza Speak, they can download so many different training apps where they can train at anytime specifically, even, or they are on the bus, doesn't matter where. They just can train whenever they want to, because of the help of the training app. One more, social media. It's like the same as, for example, games, because in social media they can discuss, they have chats, they have a live communication with other people. So they can even have the group of students, the group of their friends, and they say, okay, so today is the English speaking Friday. They will try to make a phone call or the video call, doesn't matter, on Telegram, on WhatsApp, doesn't matter where. But with the help of social media, they can find this connection with other people who also want to study English and with whom they can practice their speaking skills because they try to use the communicative skills at the same time. Okay, so talking about students, we understood that they have to be responsible for themselves, but what about teachers? Like, what again is the role of the teacher here? To teach an ESL student is to. Let's take a look what steps we have here as being a teacher to ESL student. Be an example of great English skills. As I said before, please take care of your English. And remember that that's a never-ending process of studying because we always have to practice, we always have to improve our English skills. And like, please pay attention to this, to your grammar, to your pronunciation, practice this. Please. Yeah, that's also really, really important. Let's take a look at the next one. Use the proper level of speaking. I think that's really simple because you are not going to talk with pre-A1 student about some, I don't know, governmental issues. So we have to choose this, like the topics and the level of speaking that are relevant to the level of your student. That's out of this one, we have the next point, meet students' needs. That means we have to understand what student wants from us, what's the main goal of working with us, what, like, after the end of the course, what background knowledge they must have, and how we have to train them speaking so that when they complete the course, they go to another country and they just like, okay, I go to the cafe, give me this one, can you please go there, and so on. So like they feel free to talk after our course or after our lessons with the teacher. Lesson with the teacher. Okay, let's go to the next one. Show how to use an intonation, patterns, rhythm, word stress, and pauses. We have to understand that speaking is an alive process again. It's not, we're not robots. We're not supposed to be like this and have no body language, no gestures, and so on. No one is going to listen to you for a long time if you do that. No one. And it's really hard to understand what the person is talking if there is no gestures. Like the facial expression, the body language, all of this is really important. And we have to train our students. We have to show with our example how we use it. So that means, okay, wow, you got it, such a great day, for example. Oh, I'm sorry, what happened to you? We have to use our emotions. We have to show the rhythm of English because English also has the rhythm. We have to show the stresses, like what words we want to emphasize, and we have to show the pauses. So all of these things are like strictly and directly connected to the speaking skill because we have to train them as well as the vocabulary as well as the grammar when we want to talk. These things are also really important when you try to teach your students speaking. Next, organize the students' thoughts in a meaningful and logical order. Yeah, that's also true because students can say, I know what I want to say, but I just cannot. Here we have to help. Okay, so let's go step by step. So we have to help our students organize all the maths that it's in their head. So we have to show that English also has the structure as a math. Here you have the formula. Just follow this formula. Here is subject, there is the verb, and so on. And with the help of this formula, you can just talk and have you can improve your communicative skills because of the formulas. Next, choose the best studying approach. Yep. By the way, flipped classroom. I'm not sure if you've heard about that, but if yes, and if you're doing that, good job. Flipped classroom, they help teachers a lot because when student comes to your lesson, the student already has some background knowledge about the lesson, what's going to happen during the lesson. For example, you, or maybe that's on social media, or you've got a platform, or you will buy a platform, doesn't matter. You show the students, okay, next time we're going to discuss, for example, present perfect and this vocabulary. Please take a look at this vocabulary, write this down, learn it, do some tasks, get ready with the grammar part of present perfect, and then during the lesson, we will try to practice more. Flipped classrooms help you reduce the amount of time that you spend on presentation, on explaining, so what's this present perfect? So take a look at these words, let's try to learn them. This helps really much to reduce the time and of the presentation, and helps to have more time on practice. Specifically, what we need when student comes to you, I want to speak really well. So that is specifically what we need when we want to have more time for practice. Flipped classroom. Next one. Be patient and let students be more autonomous. Yep. Being patient is one of the hardest things that that is on the student or on the teacher's road, because teachers have to understand that students are different. Everyone is different, and everyone has different skills and different needs, and we have to be ready to this. We have to be ready that some students will need more time on studying, for example, talking about everyday language, their everyday routine, for example, than for other students. So it takes patience, time, persistence, and also the desire to help your student be able to communicate with the entire world, for example. Good. So here we've discussed a little bit what's this being a teacher. So if we want to teach our students how to speak, we have to use kind of some lesson structure, for example, to be able to conduct the lesson well, and so that it's really understandable and productive. So let's try to take a look at these lesson stages. Here we have the next one. That's TBL or PPP. I think you've heard something about that. Let's try to take a look and emphasize what this is. TBL, it stands for task-based learning, while PPP stands for presentation, practice, production. Now, let's take a look at these two pictures. I think you can see the difference between them. I would ask you to the chat, send me the letter A or B where you see a task-based learning. Where is TBL? Is it A or that's B? Please write in the comments. Okay. Mm-hmm. Good job. Yes, and you guessed, that's picture A. I think that's clearly visible because we definitely can see that students are working on some kind of a project in picture A. And in picture B, we can see that's the PPP type of the lesson, the presentation, practice, and production. Because in PPP, the teacher is the main source of information. But in the TBL lesson, students are trying to learn something new on their own. That means they try to be more autonomous, and they try to find out the new info with the help of their own skills and with the help of maybe other students and so on. But the teacher's role is a little bit different in here. Let's try to talk about that. Why TBL YTBL lessons, for example, and what are the stages of that. So let's take a look here. TBL lesson is student-centered. That means it's as I said before, it's not the PPP, because here in student-centered, teacher is trying to elicit information from students. So that means the focus of getting info is changed a little bit, because teacher becomes as a mentor and provides the tasks and so on, but the informational source becomes just changes to the student part. They try to find the resources to explain why here, for example, this presentation it is like made about this one or that one and so on. So it also meets students' needs. They learn what they want to learn and what is interesting for them. Competent communicators. Again, while having to be a lesson, students speak a lot with each other because they have a lot of different tasks. And these tasks can be not just in books, not just the handouts, but also they can be games, they can be different activities while they have to practice their speaking a lot, because they have to communicate somehow with their students and they have to find out the info. But at the same time, we have to remember whether you choose the English speaking lesson or you choose the native speaking lesson. So, if you want your students to improve their English skills, you have to understand that the whole lesson, or even the parts of the lesson, they have to be conducted in English as your students, even though they will struggle, even though they'll say, no, please, I can't. Mm-mm. Stand on your ground and say, no, please, let's not be lazy and let's train our brain to think in English, not in your language, but in English. Next one, works with 15 plus students in a class. Yeah, because if we have PPP type of the lesson, that means we've got one teacher, we've got 15 plus students, and they all want the info from you, and they all want you to give them some kind of the role in the lesson. If we speak about TBL, here you can just arrange a couple of tasks, and the students will try to be divided into groups, for example, or they will have kind of bigger bigger amount of time to talk, to practice their speaking, and to they all will be able to talk in general, because they will be separated. They will have for example 10 groups or 3 groups. It depends on the amount of students that you have, but in general the TBL type of the lesson works with 15 plus students and even less, like as you can see. Next, learn what you want to know. With the help of TBL lesson, students find out the info that is interesting for them. That means they, for example, the next time the teacher can ask, so what would you like to learn? The nature of, I don't know, pandas, or you would like to learn the language or the vocabulary of Brawl Stars, doesn't matter. So they have a chance to choose, and they have a chance to be interested in studying itself, because that means that they feel that teacher is trying to help them, that teacher is connected to them. And that's also really important to create this connection with your students, because they want to see and they need to see that teacher hears them and feels them at the same time, because if there is no such connection, then students will be reluctant. They wouldn't like to go to the lessons. They would say, like, I don't want to, like, why should I do that? They will not see any progress in this, and they will not understand why they have to do this. So we have to meet their needs, and the lessons and tasks have to be relevant and up to date, and also interesting for the students. Next, teacher's role is to set up the activity, monitor, guide if needed. That's what I said before. If your students have got the group work, you like usually try not to interfere, because then they will feel a little bit intimidated that oh my god, we are trying to speak here, and here comes the teacher, the all-known teacher that knows everything. So it can be a little bit intimidating for students. So try to just observe. Like, you've got 15 minutes of the task of the project, or maybe some speaking task, or the role play, or the mingling, doesn't matter. Try to listen to your students. When you listen to your students, you perfectly can take the notebook, note down the mistakes that you hear, and then work with these mistakes. That means that you can have the delayed error correction, or like you can have to give some kind of a feedback to your students after the speaking task and so on. So they will feel this autonomy to not be supervised all the time, but they will feel that they're also monitored, and they will feel that there is someone who can help them if needed. So like you're just standing, for example, taking notes, and you can hear everyone talking, and you can see that, for example, someone raised finger or hand, and you can, okay, I'm going to help you. So what's the problem? So try not to interfere, try to observe, and not to hurt students' feelings with this interfering all the time. Just try to be like observers and the guides of your class. The next one, mistakes are a learning opportunity. As I said before, if you make mistakes, that's great, but you have to learn the lesson, and you have to practice them so that the next time you don't make them. Because if you make the same mistake constantly, that means you've done no work on that, and there is no progress. You're just standing on the same place. We have to explain to our students that they have to work on their mistakes. And that's why, as I said before, this delay error correction, which helps us work on mistakes, not discussing them specifically with a specific student, for example, not to be intimidating, but open class. And not to name who made the mistake, but to say, okay, so I've heard this mistake was made. So let's try to discuss it a little bit. You can write it on the board, or if you don't have a board on the notes, in your notes, doesn't matter, but have a group discussion of mistakes without naming that's like, you've made it, you've done it wrong, so don't do this next time. No, just try to make your students listen to you and understand that they have to work on this mistake, and doesn't matter who it's connected to. Everyone has to pay attention to this. Speaking about the stages, about the stages of TBL lesson. So there we have pre-task, task, planning, report, and analysis. The pre-task, presenting the requirements of the task. So you have to give like, okay, so today we have to make the project. So you give like the handout, or it doesn't matter, just you give the specific requirements, what you want from your students. Then students have to complete the task itself. Then students can plan a short report of the task. Here comes the speaking part. Like while they complete the task, maybe that's find someone who, or maybe that's I don't know, make the project of some kind of the country to, and to tell what's the country, what's the language, what's the cuisine, and all of that. They will try to they will try to discuss all of these things with their group mates. And here comes the speaking part, when they practice their speaking in not a restricted area, just with their group mates. Then after that, when they are ready with their planning, they have to report. They have to present the task, and they have to set the role so that everyone has a chance to, even one sentence, but to present the task specifically, like every member of the group. And then goes the feedback, the analysis. As I said before, please don't name who made the mistake. Just note down the mistakes and work on them. You can create a worksheet, or you can work on the board. Doesn't matter. You choose whatever you like, whichever feedback you want to give. But show that you're interested in their storytelling. Show that they heard. Show that you, for example, maybe have some notes to add or something like that. Show the interest, because then students will understand that, okay, our work wasn't just for nothing. The teacher heard us, and they will again feel the connection with the teacher because of that. Good. let's move on a little bit to our activities. Speaking about TBL lesson and TBL activities, here we have the real life situations where students try to use the real life language and like the everyday language, for example. Let's take a look at some of the activities. Banana, the first one, and that is one of my students' favorite activities actually, because it's really fun and they can create a sentence. So have a look. Today, I had so many bananas at school. I'm really tired. Right now in the chat, let's try to be a student and please write down what you think is this banana stand for. I'm going to take a look at the chat and I would need you to write down what is this banana. You've got a couple of seconds. Let's go. So which word is hiding behind this banana sentence? And let's have a look. Da-da-da-dum. Lessons. So this task, in this task, students use the functional language. They have free will to create their own sentences and they practice speaking because they have fun with their partner because they make the sentence. They say, oh, I've got a banana. I've got 10 bananas in my sentence. So I've noticed this all the time that students love to make not just one banana word in the sentence, but a couple of them, and see the struggles of their partner to guess all of the bananas from the sentence. So that one also is really fun and really productive because students speak a lot during their banana sentences. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, there we have the story chain. So the goal of this story chain is to create the story. Can be a fun one or maybe the horror story. Doesn't matter. Any genre, whatever students choose, whatever they like. This can be also as a warm up when you just start your lesson, or as a productive stage where you want your students to use all the functional language and all the grammar that you've learned, but with the help of speaking practice. This can be played in a circle. You must have kind of the ball or any knitted toy, whatever you like. And you make the first sentence. For example, yesterday I've met a monster. Then you throw the ball to another student, and the student has to continue the story. And for example, in 2 minutes or in 1 minute, everyone must have a chance to say one sentence, to throw the ball to another student, and to, in the end, like simultaneously while people are talking, someone can just take notes what's happening in every sentence that people create, and in the end, just have this story ended with all of the sentences from all of the students. It takes some time, but again, that's super fun because students can make up so many sentences that are just silly and really, really, really fun. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Charades. Da-da-da-dum. I think you've tried to play charades with your students. That's when actually this application is really useful because there you can save and you can create your own game, your own charades with your students. So you can use the phrases, the sentences, or the just the words were in, like, in this game will be saved and all of the folders will be saved for you. So like try to use it with your students. The thing of this game charades is that students practice speaking while explaining what the thing is on the like on the screen of the phone. For example, they say the word and they try to say, oh my god, oh, I know it, I know it, I know it. Okay, so that's the place where you go to have fun or something like that. Have a look, how many words were said in one sentence? For example, if student doesn't want to talk that much during the whole lesson, but with the help of charades, student is interested and in speaking and wants to help and wants to win because there is time taking, and as many words you try to explain to your students, to your partner, without naming the one from the screen, as many points you will get, for example. So it's challenging, but at the same time, when you give the restriction no native language, just English, the brain of students will try to blow up a little bit, but it's a really productive activity where they get from all of the parts of their memory so many words in just a couple of seconds that you cannot even imagine. So try to play this with your students too. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I spot with my eye a liar. That's some kind of like a spy fall, but this one can be played without the application. A student can use their for example, here with I spot with my eye a liar, here they can use the target language, the target grammar, even doesn't matter, it depends on the lesson, and they have to create some sentences. But before they do that, teacher gives out the cards. For example, there are 5 students. So that means 4 students will be just usual people, and the 5th student is going to be a liar. That means a liar has to create some amount of false sentences, and then you can play it with the ball, or you can just make it as a mafia game, for example, so that students are asking, so what's your next sentence? And if they guess who's the liar, that person gets some kind of the praise, or it's like in Green Country we have contracts, like our money from our school. But if it's you, maybe some points or something like that. But if the liar wins and no one guesses who's the liar, that means he will get some type of the praise. That's also really productive speaking activity because students use a lot of language. So that's what about activities and TBL lesson. Now, talking about speaking, actually, there are those 2 really, really important things as accuracy and fluency. Sometimes people think that fluency is not that important, or that I can just talk really well-structured sentences and people will understand me, but not. That's not gonna work without like all the as accuracy as fluency. They also are connected pretty much, but what each of these refers to. If we talk about accuracy, it refers to the usage of grammar parts, of the correct, like the specifically correct usage of language, whether you use correct structures, whether the pronunciation is okay, whether the vocabulary is used well, and all of this thing. If we talk about fluency, it's the flow of the speech, how people communicate, and there is this meaning and flow is rather than mistakes. That means if the person makes some mistakes, it can be not that visible and not that important if the average meaning of the situation is understandable, and if you get the thing that it was that the person was talking about. So here we have to talk a little bit about that. To practice our accuracy and fluency, we have some activities that can help us do that. The first one, Rory the warrior, the Roger the warrior. So any ideas what's this? Yeah, that's kind of a little bit tough. So this thing is the tongue twister. Tongue twisters are really huge lifesavers if you see that your students struggle with sounds, or you see that your students have to work on their accuracy and pronunciation a little bit more. That means you hear that they've got, for example, maybe or a really strong accent and they want to make it better, or they have the trouble with the th sound, th, or like any other sound or something like that. Make them learn tongue twisters so that they spend some time, they try to learn them for a long time, for example. They practice this all the time. And then when they come to the lesson, they tell you this tongue twister and you say, well done, really well done. And after that, you will hear that your student has practiced the sound enough and then can use it in the everyday language and in everyday English, for example. Let's take a look at the next one. 3 free throws. Here you can see low, middle, and high. That's a voice exercise. Voice exercises are also really important because it trains our vocal cords. If we talk not our native language, our all oral mechanism gets tired a little bit because it's not natural for us to talk another language because we since being a baby, we were taught our native language, for example, Ukrainian. So then that means when you grow up, you have to train your muscles, train your tongue, train your vocal cords, everything to create the sounds that are not natural for your language, like at all. So it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of practice. But at the same time, those voice exercises, when you try to change the tone, the pace, when you try to change the intonation, to talk really with high voice or really low like this. So it helps to train all the ranges of our vocal mechanism and to show that sometimes you can meet those sounds like so. Tongue and vocal cords, please be ready to that. So to show that that's possible. Drilling. The thing about drilling is that you have to be careful with this, not to use it really often, because sometimes students can get bored of that, actually, bored of drilling. But if you see that they struggle like really much with something, here you go, use the drilling. So we can see here the sentence, teacher, teacher, she is my teacher. I'm going to show you right now the drilling task from our platform, from our Green Country platform. And here we can see like students like have the access to the platform, for example, and they see the next task. Okay, so that's the audio. What should I do? There is the task, listen and do task 3. They can see some phrases, some sentences. So what are they supposed to do? The next thing that they have to do is to listen to the audio where we have this drilling task and complete task 3 to be able to put the sentences into the correct order. So let's try to listen. You will hear what I mean about drilling in general, and I will try to just complete to the first sentences. So let's listen.
Straight, straight. My hair is straight. Curly, curly. My hair is curly. Long, long. My hair is long.
So, as you can hear, the person is repeating some of the words so that it shows the sounds. You have to repeat after this audio to understand how this word and sentence said. So that means the drilling helps to practice our memory and tongue and vocal cords at the same time. All of these mechanisms that help us speak and like in general. So with the help of drilling, we can just train how to pronounce it or how to say something correctly. And as we can see here, straight, straight, my hair is straight. We also have the meaning of this word straight. So even though, for example, the person has maybe the picture or something like that, or knows other words, so with the help of the meaning of the sentence, in the sentence where this word is, we can try to understand what the sentence is about. So drilling, feel free to use it. One of my favorite things to use while practicing your fluency and accuracy is shadowing. Like at first I was exposed to this activity at university, and I was really thrilled actually, because it can be and hard and at the same time really fun. Let's try to take a look what shadowing is. Shadowing technique. As you can see here, we have the picture of the girl. She's having the headphones and the audio. She's listening to something. Let's find out what this is. Speaking about the shadowing technique, we use the shadowing technique to improve intonation, pace, pronunciation, and body language. That means, for example, I have the video. It's better to do this with a video, actually. I have a video. I have the subtitles on the bottom of the screen. I watched, for example, the video for the first time to get the main idea of this, what's going to happen, like what's happening there. Okay, then I've heard and I've got the idea. Then I go back to the beginning of the video. I hear one sentence and then I pause. So after that, I read what was said. Then I click, video goes again, I pause, read again what was said. Next, when I've done all of this till the end of the video, I go again back to the beginning. And after that, I try to mimic, I try to act out as if I am the person from the video. That means repeat the intonation of the person, repeat the pace, the speed of talking, repeat the pronunciation of words, and repeat the whole body language. If the person smiles, if the person is sad, and so on, try to be an actor. Like, try to be the person from the video specifically, because with the help of this, you can train your body in general to speak as if you're a native speaker, for example, because you try to use the things that were taught, like how they were taught since being the babies, but it's different from our country, for example. So we have to be ready to this, that it's gonna be a little bit hard actually to try the shadowing technique, but just the persistence and the desire to practice pace, intonation, pronunciation, and body language, and speaking itself, how it works and how it's supposed to be alive and not like the robot speaking. Try this activity. One of the things, one of the sites and apps that help you try the shadowing technique is English. You're going to have it in the links after the webinar. So all of the links you will get to some useful sites, apps, and just applicate like the things that are kind of useful while teaching speaking. So don't worry, you will get all of that. So your English, try to use it, like have a look there, and if you see that your student has a need to practice this, try to work with your student using this site. Now, talking a little bit about speaking, about accuracy and fluency, as long as you see that your student is okay with fluency, don't try to correct. Like, note down the mistakes, because like you have to work on mistakes, but in general, when you see that your student is natural while speaking, and you see that the eyes are burning and so on, and you feel that the energy of the passion to speak, that's super cool, because that means like the accuracy will be trained, and your student will work on the mistakes, and in like in the overall picture, everything will be just perfect. Speaking about accuracy, sometimes students have got struggles with fluency. How it can happen? For example, students want to speak just perfectly correct, perfectly, like perfect words, perfect vocabulary, perfect grammar, and so on. But the lack of practice of this being alive and the pronunciation practice. Here comes the fluency practice to show them that they have to be alive, they have to move, they have to use the body language, they have to train their pronunciation, because if they want to sound as a native speaker, then yes, the accent and pronunciation is really highly important for them. But if they are okay with having the accent like this, so then don't push them, don't say that no, you're wrong or something like that. So you have to understand how person feels about this, whether he is more for accuracy or he is more for fluency, or he wants to have the best accent, or he wants to have the best pronunciation, and so on. But it's not connected to teachers. As for me, teachers must be the perfect example. They must show that pronunciation is like, yeah, it's a tricky thing. We have to train it, we have to study it. Like, it takes some time for sure. But in general, if we teach our students some wrong pronounced words, then they will have struggles with this. I actually have the example with that because when I was at school, my teacher, I loved my teacher of English, really. She gave me a lot of like a lot of useful things, and because of her, I actually loved English. But I've noticed, like when I went to university, I noticed that some words were mispronounced, and that's like those are the words that almost every student has struggled with. The one is, I'm going to write you down in here. I think even at once you've said clothes, even at once, even when you started studying or something like that. But when I found out that that's not supposed to be clothes, but it's supposed to be clothes or cloths, depends on the person, on the native speaker, how they pronounce. I was shocked a little bit because, like, that shows that teacher actually wasn't given too much to her pronunciation and to her speaking skills itself. So that's why we have to work on this, on pronunciation and fluency as a teacher, and we have to pay attention to those things. Not saying clothes, but saying clothes. To practice that, we have to use shadowing. We have to watch a lot of films, a lot of series, just to have this listening practice, and then be able to give, to product it to other students as you heard it, to so that they can receive and perceive what you try to bring them. So actually, this one struggle, I've won some victories, and and most of my students actually memorized that that's not clothes but clothes, and I'm like, yay, finally. So I'm fighting. I'm in the army of fighting for this word actually. So that's what about accuracy and fluency. So speaking about, for example, platforms which you can use, there are some platforms that our green country produces actually. Like for our inner circle, for our green country students, we'll have our handbooks, but if teacher wants to try the TBL lesson, or wants to have more free time because all of the, like, the platform is already packed with a lot of tasks, with a lot of information and so on, then there is a chance to take a look at TalkEn.Cloud platform. Let's have a look at this a little bit. So what's a TalkEn.Cloud? Here you can see our Green Country platform, where students have the access to as lessons as to their self-studies. Here is the flipped classroom type, because they get ready to the lesson before they do the self-study, they learn everything, and then we've got just the TBL lesson, task-based lesson, and we practice all what they've learned before. So what's in it? What is in TalkEn.Cloud for teachers? Let's take a look. It's the tool. It's the platform which has a lot of different tools where you can set the home task for your students, where you can see the how often students are present, whether they take a look at the platform, what they're doing. You can check their homework, you can check the assignment and all of that stuff. So, like, there are a lot of LMS tools. at this on this TalkEn.Cloud platform. And also, there is the Teaching Training Center, where you have the access to the webinars and to the training sessions, and you can attend some new ones and which are relevant to and up to date, for example. Okay, that's for the teachers. So what about students? Why is that so good for students? That's good because they have everything online. As I said before, there won't be this sentence, oh, I don't have the book, I cannot do the task, and here comes the TalkEn.Cloud platform. No, that's not an excuse. You have the TalkEn.Cloud platform. You have all the tasks in there online. So even though you're in the village, you have the access to the book and you have the access to all of the tasks. So it's the online system which helps reduce the usage of the same paper, for example, and it's not as time consuming as you would go to the printing center. You would print something, you would bring all those printouts to your house, then give out to your students and so on. Here you have everything like in one platform, everything in one place, and there you can choose any type of lessons, any type of activities, whatever you like your student to memorize and practice more. Let's have a look at presentation, by the way. So look, if you're interested in our TalkEn.Cloud platform, there is going to be a demo webinar like the demo access to this platform after the webinar. You're going to get the email with all the info about the platform, with the access to that, with all the links, with the short sum up of this webinar. So don't worry. After the webinar, you're going to get everything. But there can be some troubles with getting the letter. So I would ask you to please check the spam box, or maybe the advertisement box. Maybe there like the letter can be transferred to this type of the box. So please check all of your boxes. Maybe somewhere there is our letter from the webinar. And there's going to be the presentation on 22nd of June, and there you will hear more info about our TalkEn.Cloud platform and all the perks of it, and everything what you can do with our TalkEn.Cloud platform in general. So please scan the QR code with all of info, and don't worry, as I said before, you will get everything needed after the webinar. So just wait for this. And also, as I said before, after the webinar, you're going to be tested a little bit. And the test is provided for you to see how well you remember the info which was said on the webinar, and also to get the certificate that you've been present, you've learned the info, you've gained some knowledge, and so on. So you will get all the information about the test, about all of this after the webinar. So don't worry, just check your email box. Okay, so let's take a look at the last thing that I want to discuss with you. That's questions and answers. First of all, being a teacher is really hard. And for me, I would say for me, these a couple of months, they were super hard, really super hard. And even right now, I'm struggling really much with lessons and with everything, because war has a huge impact. Really has a huge impact on the mental health and like on everything. But I just try to remember, and I try to tell myself that come on, I'm a superhero because I'm able to work. Like I have everything what I need. I have the voice. I have the body. I have everything what I need to be the superhero. So you are also those superheroes because you do great job and the huge job, because you help our generation not to be not to sit in some ancient place and just like not thinking about future, but to see this future and to move in the right direction of the future with help of English, with the help of while you give some advice, piece of advice to your students. So just keep it in mind that you are superheroes, and you as teachers do great job. And without teachers, there would be just no progress and nothing at all. Please remember that, and remember that teachers make a huge impact on students. So keep it in mind. Now I can see that there are some questions. And I'm just gonna discuss them a little bit with you and like give my pieces of advice. I can see that there is the question, what would you advise to improve pronunciation? As I said before, it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice. That means you have to spend a lot of time working on your pronunciation. If we talk about students, as I said, drilling, tongue twisters, you will see what struggles they have, what sounds are a bit hard for them to pronounce. So then you can say, okay, so let's try to create the tongue twister. You got it. You have a task. Make a tongue twister of 2 sentences with the sound, for example, th. So they will have a chance to make its tongue twister on their own and then present it while speaking, while trying to produce and like have the production activity when they try to say the sound specifically. If we talk about teens, which like whose aim is specifically pronunciation, then it takes, as I said, shadowing, one of the best options, because you copy everything what is said, and you try to sound as the native speaker sounds. That's why shadowing is one of the best activities to try. And also, if you want to work on pronunciation, that means you're interested in that, and that means you will notice language. And if you are walking just around the city, you can hear that maybe some natives are talking, and you will notice that. So that means your ears and your hearing becomes really sharp, and you're able to receive a lot of info, and to after that, trying to practice this and trying to work with that when you want to practice and when you want to improve your speaking skills. Okay. Look, also, I've got another question. Oh, thank you really much. Thank you, please. Thank you really much for being present too. Thank you. That's just a pleasure to present to you, really. Yes, you also be careful. Please, teachers, you are our shining stars. Please be careful and keep safe. Look, you can ask some other questions into the chat because we have a couple of minutes too. Where can I download it from? Maybe if I get it correctly, that's from the TalkEn.Cloud. Look, the TalkEn.Cloud platform, as I said before, you will get the access, demo access after the webinar. If you talk about applications and just the sites which you can use in your studying process, you will get the useful links after the webinar, because I've listed there the ones that I use really often and the ones that can be useful to practice speaking, for example. Yes. Look, thanks. Can I have a link for the test on first webinar? Yes, of course. You can find the link to your test in just a second. Yeah, you can find the link in the for your test in your previous letter, which you got after the first webinar. And please, as I said before, check the mailboxes, because sometimes the letter can go to the spam, or maybe to another just folder and something like that. Also, you can find the links to previous tests, like below previous webinars on YouTube. So just check the previous webinar and have a look there. There are supposed to be all the links to the tests. That's how you're gonna like get the access to the test. And below, by the way, below the video on YouTube, you have all the needed links to the test, to like everything we need. Just take a look. Just check how those YouTubers say, like, I don't know. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm sorry, I cannot tell you that. Like give some likes, the thumbs ups, and so on. So check below, and just like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. Good. So just wait, please, for the email, the feedback email. You've got everything you need on the email. And good luck. Please stay safe and keep going and keep doing what you're doing, because without teachers, that would be really hard to live in the world. So remember that you're superheroes and you say you are savers of our students' mental health. So please remember that. Uh-huh. There's some other questions. They didn't accept new submission, or I mean former webinar tests. Look, you have to if you have some troubles like that, if you didn't get the submission, then make the reply letter, write back to the email address out of which you got the email with the tests and webinar link and so on. Okay. Let me know, please, if that's all. It was a real pleasure to talk with, like, to present to you. So thank you really much for your time and for listening and for studying, not just teaching, but also studying. We still have some time, so please don't feel shy. Don't be shy. Ask any questions if you have any. Good. No questions left. So one more time, thank you really much, and everything will be great. Good luck.